I wasn't ready.
I could tell because you weren't even paying attention. All I heard was you like trying to Google things with two fingers.
So what we got here is Marcus would rather be frustrated at someone than listen to them.
Wow. Hey, I'm Marcus, and he is Atrax.
And I'm Nick.
We are Working Class Nerds.
Cue the intro. We are Working Class Nerds, the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
Today is Thursday, October 12th, 2023, and you can find this 219 podcast anywhere you can find a podcast in the galaxy, far, far away. And you can watch and listen to every single Working Class Nerds episode on the YouTube. Just search for the Working Class Nerds podcast or go to youtube.com/@Working Class Nerds, click on playlists, click on Working Class Nerds, and boom, every episode, past and present, right at your fingertips. You can watch Atrax play video games Friday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/A_Atrax. You can watch me play video games now that I have a computer Tuesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays at kick.com/MarcusB814.
And you can watch me play video games on select Monday nights at twitch.tv/NickVern51.
And we're all on social media, mostly Twitter for me, but I am at MarcusB814. He is Atrax_A.
And I'm at Nick Vern. That's today's Geek Therapy. And in this week's episode, we have one of our favorite returning guests. He's the only person I know that wrote their PhD thesis on video games. He's a professor, a content creator, an amazing mental health professional. He is Dr. Gameology. And I forgot to click the air horn sound, so I'm going to do it now. Welcome back to the show, Doc. And what have you been up to?
I have been literally up to everything that you could possibly imagine that I would do, and stuff that even I would never have imagined I was going to do since the last episode.
Marcus just had the thought, I don't know.
I want to know. I can imagine a lot of things, but I want to know, what is it that you didn't imagine yourself doing?
Okay. So the number one thing that I did not imagine myself doing by the age that I am right now is I was added to the board of the International Gambling Counselor Certification Board. That's the organization that creates the gambling and video game related treatment certifications.
Wow.
Gambling is the one I've been doing my whole counseling career since I learned about it. And I've been doing trainings and things in line with their organization for over a decade now. But the gaming treatment certificate, when the pandemic was just starting, that's when they debuted it. And I immediately emailed them and I was like, I want to help you build this and make it great. And so I've been working on that since 2020. Yeah, 2020 with a lot of really talented clinicians. So they added me as an official board member. But then my very first meeting was a voting meeting because they needed to elect a new board president.
Oh.
So my first meeting, I became the president of this certification board.
Wow.
So
That's
should we go?
awesome.
So for the rest of the episode, you're El Presidente.
Yeah, I'm either Dr. Gameology or President Gameology. I don't know.
Or I guess President Gameology PhD, potentially.
Yeah.
You can loop them all together.
I mean, it's just one of those things where when they sent me the email that they wanted to accept my application and offer me a seat on the board. I was like, yes, that is so awesome. And then maybe 5 years from now, I can, move up to the next thing. But I'm really happy with this accomplishment right now. And I woke up that morning having no idea that this whole vote was going to happen. So that's one thing that I've accomplished since the last appearance on Working Class Nerds that I had really no plan to do. But it just felt like that call to adventure, right? Where you have a quest in front of you and you're just waiting to see who's going to say that they'll do this. It was literally like Frodo in was it Rivendell?
When he says, I'll take the ring.
I'll take the ring, right?
I'll take the ring.
It was just like
Rivendell,
clear, obvious plan that would ever work. And then I was just like, well, I wasn't planning on doing this now, but the opportunity is here right now. So if you want to vote and have me as an option, I would accept if you think that's a good idea. So
cool.
They voted.
What was that process like? Was it just self sort of promoted? Were they just asking anybody want to be president? Or did you kind of like go around and like share resumes more or less? And how did that work out?
It was, I think they call it Robert's Rules of Order. It was typical boardroom kind of discussion where you have to ask if anyone wants to make a motion and you have to have a person second it, and nobody volunteered. So
okay. So someone nominated
volunteered.
You? Oh, got it.
Yeah. So it was really awkward.
Yeah, I can imagine. We were just like, I guess I'll do it. Just raising your hand.
I'll do it. I'll take the ring to Mordor.
Right.
Yeah. It was my Frodo Baggins moment.
So
That's
you
wicked
were
cool.
So you didn't volunteer, you were voluntold.
No, I volunteered. No one. Now, I suspect that there were 3 people in that meeting that knew that was going to happen and that I did exactly what they thought I was going to do.
That's correct. That you were voluntold. They got you.
Yeah. But I'm really happy.
They Genshin impacted you.
Genshin Impact. I've actually played that also since the last time I was on the show, and I kind of like it.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
What I like about it is that it's free. So, like, the ultimate for me now, the ultimate in casual game is it's a free game. So whether you go in and you play it for whether 20 minutes or 7 hours, it's free. You don't need to buy anything. You can buy stuff, but you don't need to.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah. And if you like, anime battles, then it's great. Anime outfits, anime weapons, anime magic.
Yeah.
World is a complete ripoff of Breath of the Wild, but that's a good thing too.
So wasn't what was that other game that I liked? Phoenix Rising. That was like set in like Greek mythology time. That was a Breath of the Wild clone. There was another one too that was a Breath of the Wild clone. I can't think of that one. But, Immortal something Phoenix Rising. I don't know. I played it. It was fun. The mechanics were good, but I love that like Greek mythology era.
Lore.
Yeah. That is probably my favorite era. The more I think about things, like I love that, like the idea that there's all these different types of gods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My favorite is Medusa.
She's not a god.
No, but it's in that era, and she's got snakes on the head. Turns you into stone. It's like she freezes everybody in carbonite. She Hans them. Anyway.
Hans them.
Wait, fun fact about Medusa. I think this is a rumor I read on the internet, so I don't read ancient Greek, but
check your sources, Nick.
I know. I think in the original myth of Perseus, who like slays Medusa, the reason he didn't get turned to stone is because he was too busy just staring at her tits the whole time.
Well, that's one way to
like a fact that is told through the filter of Reddit.
Right, yeah. Exactly. Because like the stories that I've heard about that was that he got Athena or somebody gifted him a mirrored shield and he looked in the shield at the reflection of Medusa, and that's how he defeated her. Not like didn't look directly at her, didn't get turned to stone. Something to that effect. But like, you know, my sophomoric sense of humor prefers the Reddit version.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to go with that angle when they do Percy Jackson on Disney Plus? Do you think they're going to?
Probably not. I'm going to go with it's going to be a mirror type of situation. I might actually be getting the mirror thing from the Percy Jackson books now that I'm replaying the tape there. I did read those at one point in time.
There's a new one that is actually about Percy Jackson. I saw it at the bookstore last Friday.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I had no idea that he was jumping back in to have a book focused on him again. Because, you know, he like jumped over and did the Roman gods and made a in-world explanation for that. And,
right.
Yeah.
What's do you know, they're kids' books?
Yeah.
Young
adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the chalice of the gods.
They're cool. The gist is, the premise is essentially like these gods have all these, you know, children that
it's
are
the
demigods.
hero's journey. It's Star Wars, but with Greek gods in New York City.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and then all these kids secretly have powers, and he discovers that, oh, he's Zeus's son.
Yeah.
I think, or Poseidon's
Percy
son.
is in the mortal world and thinks he's immortal, but his dad actually ends up being
Poseidon, I think.
Poseidon.
Because he has the pen that turns into a trident, right?
Right. That's the lightsaber or the Harry Potter wand, right? It's
right.
It's straight up the hero's journey, Marcus.
No, it's good.
I'm looking it up.
AKA Gronk87, AKA the former most eligible Bachelor in the Nerds community. He loves those books. He's super pumped for this.
My name is Percy Jack.
All right.
Sorry.
Come on. See, new computer, and he still can't figure out how to not play all of his desktop audio through the podcast.
Well, no. So I just didn't turn it off. It's all gone.
On the Medusa topic, that could get really risque if Marcus gets distracted from the podcast.
Medusa's boobs. Enter.
Oh, God, what are you making us listen to?
Whoa, there's hot singles near me. What does that mean?
What the fuck is wrong with both of you? Jesus. Oh. All right, so
I'm just responding to the natural direction that Nick took us.
Yes. No, it's Nick's
completely my fault. While we're on the topic of sidebars that have absolutely nothing to do with the actual show, what does your cup say in Arbesh?
It's the 709th Legion of the First Order.
Very cool.
It's from Batu in Hollywood Studios, Orlando, Florida.
Very cool.
Next week.
Oh yeah, someone's going there.
We gotta set up a time to meet, Marcus.
We sure do. And if we meet for I'm down for any dinner, but if we go to that Asian restaurant at Universal, I'm down with that too.
Wait a minute. I forgot you moved to Florida.
Yeah.
That like Florida. 7 years ago, Nick.
I know. I know. But I've been wrapped up in Imperial Land, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were like doing hardcore medical professional stuff.
Oh, I did.
So back when I had my move.
Yeah, and so Nick is now under the control of the Imperial Army. Yeah. So his girlfriend is a stormtrooper. Her name is TK427, and she controls every aspect of his life now.
Oh my god!
So he's under Imperial control.
Let the record state: TK427 does not control my actions, but this is a very fun meme, so I'll go along with it.
You don't have to give us a disclaimer. Her aim is terrible. What's she gonna do? Miss you?
That was awesome.
Anyways,
fair enough.
So Atrax, what have you been up to? Well, it's funny you should say that. I called out on the podcast today because I've got invited to join a Division 2 Counter-Strike 2 team because they needed to fill in for the league. And they asked me to fill in, and I figured that, Marcus, he's got it with Nick, and Marcus has got a PC, and Dr. Gameology's on the show, so why not? But before I go back to my CSGO match, I'm going to tell you in Game of the Month news, the Dota 2...
Whoa. You got to do that again. Want me to?
In Game of the Month news...
No, it's Game of the Month news. Game of the Month news time. What's the Game of the Month? Remind me.
Every single month in the Nerds community, we come up with a Game of the Month that we invite you to join us and play. Last month we did Wayfinder, which I was neck deep in that and enjoyed every moment of it. And I am going to not swear tonight, or try really hard not to, because my daughter says she thinks I swear too much on the podcast. So I'm going to try not to. Anyways, the Dota 2, Dota 2,
really funny.
Dota
Wait,
2
Marcus,
is.
what did you say you're going to do? You said you're going to what? Not to?
Try not to swear.
What word was that?
Swear?
No, it started with a T.
Oh, try?
No, try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
That's what this tattoo says.
Yep.
I told you that, I think. Maybe.
This is a simple thing. You either swear or you don't. There's no try.
Right.
It just depends how passionate I get. If I get passionate, I can't control myself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
Anyway, so the Game of the Month this month is Dota 2. It's kind of like League of Legends. I don't know. I tried to play it years. Yeah, it's a MOBA.
Mm-hmm.
Years and years and years ago, I tried to play it, and it was like a typing contest like StarCraft was for me, and I was like, okay, I'm out. But this month's Game of the Month, Dota 2 International starts this week. The group stage starts today, which is October 12th, and ends on Sunday, October 15th. There will be watch parties of the matches in the Discord. Myself, Atrax, will be hosting all of them. Atrax, myself, is going to ping the Discord, finish 15 minutes before they start. Playoffs are next weekend, October 20th through the 22nd. And the finals weekend is October 27th through the 29th. For the rest of the month, there will be a watch party. Watch parties for the Game of the Month. Also, too, come join us. You can play Dota 2 for free on Steam. Enjoying the working class nerds Dota 2 Guild. Well, thank you so much, Atrax. And thank you so much for asking me how's it going. Because let me tell you.
Actually, wait. Before we get off of Dota 2, I have one quick thing. Game of the Month is just fun. Dota 2 it seems like a cool game, but not my style. I just want to give a quick shout out to Anthony Murphy of Power 2, one of my close friends in paintball. He was listening to the show and was like, hey, I have a stupid question. What does Dota stand for? And I was like, oh, well, it's a game. He's like, no, I know that, but what do the letters mean? So it made me, that prompted me to Google it. And it's Defenders of the Ancients, which I did not know before. So shout out to Murph for making me look that up. Anyways, Marcus, what have you been up to?
A whole lot of work. And I feel like I always say that, but these past few weeks have been excessive. I've been finishing up things and working overnights at my other job, and it's just been a wild ride. And how wild has it been? We built my computer, 3 weeks ago? And I finally got it running. No, maybe 2 weeks ago. We built it 2 weeks ago, and I finally got it up and running yesterday.
Yeah.
So it ended up being that first the RAM was seated in the wrong location, because on my last motherboard I could stack all the RAM in like a row, but in this computer you have to go every other slot.
Yeah.
So I did that. Seeded that, and then it wasn't booting. It just happened to be that all of my hard drives, I have 3 hard drives, and the hard drives were not in the correct order that they needed to be. So once I did that,
the cables.
Yes. So once I did that, I fucked around with that for a little while last night. And
you didn't do.
No. That's
you
$1.
You have to drop some credits in the swear jar.
I was just going to drop, I got to drop $1 in there. Every time I swear, I put $1 in there.
You just like carry wads of $1 bills?
Or I have to write an IOU.
Oh, yeah.
So, but most of the time I have dollar bills. Anyway, I am super excited that my PC is back. Unfortunately, I'll be able to stream this weekend, but then I'm disappearing for a week to go to the land of Batu in Hollywood Studios.
Oh,
I'm eager and excited to go. Usually when I go down, most of the time when I go down there, I get to meet Doc. I think the last time I went, we didn't get to cross paths. So it's been like 2 years since I've seen him, like in person, face to face. And so that is a must. That's a must see TV action right there.
Yeah, that was a tough year too, because I actually was at PAX East that year, and same thing happened to you. We were both stuck being in like a crazy work day the one day that we could have met
Right,
up.
I couldn't get to Boston to come see you because I was in an insane work day, and when I was down there, you had the like craziest week ever. But we'll talk tomorrow, and I'd like to nail it down because we're there all week, so we'll figure out a day and a time.
Yeah, definitely can.
Yeah, for sure. So the PC is back up and running immediately as soon as I did it. Of course, keyboard settings, mouse settings, Go XLR settings, basically every setting that I need to not get messed up got messed up yesterday. But I'm glad that I took the time, because years ago when I built my first and second PC, when you changed your motherboard and CPU, you had to wipe your hard drives. They would not work with the new because it would recognize a new computer. So my hard drives wouldn't work. You would essentially have to reinstall Windows. The computers now are so smart that you don't have to do that. And obviously, there's AI, right? You have Chat GPT. So what does it matter that...
I don't think there's AI in your motherboard.
No, but what I'm saying is the technology's there to set your computer to know that the hard drives have an operating system. Yeah. And they don't need, the motherboard and the CPU don't actually matter when it comes to the hard drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I did that. So I loaded Destiny, played great. I loaded Wayfinder, played great. I did load Cyberpunk. Big shout out to Atrax. So everybody has said to me, I'm such a graphical snob that they're like, why aren't you playing the most beautiful game that has ever been?
Yeah.
The most beautiful game before that was Crysis back in the day. And this game just blows it out of the water. I don't even know what kind of game Cyberpunk is.
It's an RPG.
I know it's an RPG, but like, I don't know. I've only seen a couple cutscenes, never seen like real gameplay. So it's going to be really exciting for me to come into the game not knowing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I watched reviews of it, but like they showed gameplay, but I don't really, understand the premise of it. I don't know how long the game is. I don't know anything. I'm going in blind. So I'm hoping tomorrow night to start playing that, or tonight after I kind of want to save it for stream. If I'm going to start playing it, I want to create my character with everybody.
Yeah, just be careful, because I'm pretty sure when you're naked in Cyberpunk, you can see your ding-a-ling. It might violate TOS
Does
potentially.
Kick care?
Oh, Kick probably doesn't care. That's true. It's still the wild, wild west.
That's how it is in Baldur's Gate 2, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So wait, so when you start with your character, they're just straight up nude?
I'm pretty sure.
You get to customize what their genitalia is.
Yeah, because I remember when people would make the dicks particularly large, there was a problem with it clipping through their underwear, and it would just be flopping around as they're walking around.
That's how life is too, I guess.
Mandingo. Anyway, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited to have my computer. It was really weird. And it was actually a little humbling to not come down to my office for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I missed it though. Like, I feel like after a long day, kids go to bed, coming down to my office, it's almost like
yeah,
me time. But when you don't have that to do, it's really hard to go from going to bed at like in between 11:30 and 12:30 every day to like 9:30 or 10:30. because you just go to bed and you lay there with your eyes open going, why am I in this bed right now? Like, I'm not tired. But your body...
but my computer is not together, so I might as well just relax.
Right, but the really nice part about, even if you're just laying in bed, just laying on your bed and your like legs laying there and not moving, it's actually really relaxing and comforting to not have to move.
Yes, no kidding.
You know what I mean? Where like sitting in my chair is comfortable, but like, I don't know, something about laying in the bed. Anyway,
it's way better. That's why whenever I do the podcast, I kick out the recline function of my gaming chair here.
Right. I can't wait to dive into Cyberpunk. I'm excited to come back to Destiny after vacation because next week I am going to Disney World. Sorry, I'm whispering. I don't want my kids to hear. They're in bed, but they don't know. So we're leaving Monday.
Awesome.
We're leaving Monday. I have 9 boxes wrapped together, and each one is going to go to a smaller box. And when they get to the bottom box, the 9th box, they're going to open it. And there's 2 cards. It has a number 1 with Ryan's name on it, and a number 2 that has Julia's name on it. The number 1 box has got Ryan's name on it, and when he opens it, because he's 5, he can't read, but there'll be a Disney gift card in there. The number 2 box will be a card to my daughter that's going to say, go pack your stuff. We're leaving at 6 a.m. for Disney.
Wow, that's cool. I'm just going to read it and freak out. Yeah, it's fun, though. Like, if you're going to do a surprise Disney trip reveal, like, do that. You know, do like, make it a production. That's fun.
Right.
I would freak out. I feel like every kid dreams of that. Like, the surprise Disney trip, you know?
Right.
That's
anyway,
cool. I'm happy you're doing that.
So I'm leaving then, but I'm leaving my brand new computer with cool straps on the top. Shout out to Nick for all the help building this thing. It was good to get it going. It's good to be back. I rambled on for too long. Nick, what have you been up to?
I'll just talk about building your computer real quick. It was actually less intense than I thought it was going to be. Like, I don't know. I'd never built a computer before, so like, I just always thought like, oh, all the wires and pieces and components, it's like overwhelming. But then when I actually sat down and did it with you, it was like, oh, I guess this makes sense. I know what all the computer components are. They all got to plug into the motherboard somewhere. You just got to find out where they plug in. And be gentle and have patience.
Right, patience. And then the other thing is don't forget we were taking apart a computer and putting it together. So like all of the cables were already there. You weren't searching for cables. Oh, snap, I don't have that cable. Like everything was here that you could possibly need.
That's true.
I would say the only thing that I really would like to do is I have a 4 terabyte regular hard drive. I'd really like to buy a big hard drive for all the games that's an SSD, so they're all running at top speed, because the loading screens on a game that uses a regular hard drive is so much longer than an SSD.
Yeah,
your games load so slow.
Yeah, I only have SSDs in mine, so I'm not really sure. You know what's interesting though? Quick computer question too is I just put in a second SSD. Well, I don't know how to like say, hey, put stuff in this one versus that one.
So if you download something, like go download a picture right now, and you you right click it, you select the drive, and it'll show up. Or when you buy a game on Steam, like go click on a free to play game on Steam.
Oh, to download it, it asks you where to put it.
Where to put it, you click the new drive, and then after you click that drive, that'll end up being the default every time.
Okay, so it's I just don't know, like my local disk C drive. That's just and then your other one would be DE. Yeah. See, I don't have.
Believe it or not, so I have 3 drives. One of them is my local C drive. The other one is L for Leia. The other one is R for Ryan. I just changed the name of the drive.
Huh. Yeah, I got to find that. Or maybe I need to install the other one or something. I don't know. Well, anyways, I'll conquer that later. But
wait, you didn't enable it?
I don't even know what that means. Like in the console command or not console commands? That's in the game.
That would mean that it's in your computer, but it's doing nothing.
Yes.
Probably. I just plugged it in. That's all, and that's it.
Yeah, you have to enable it. Later, go to YouTube and type in how to enable a hard drive. It's really simple.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Well, I don't know.
Nick bought this hard drive a year ago.
No, I didn't. I bought it. I installed it like last week. I bought it like a month ago, though. It's been sitting there because it didn't come with the screw you need. Because it's an M.2. You need the little spacer in the screw, so I had to buy that on Amazon. But anyways, I'm not used to all these complicated computer things. I'm like, I do simple stuff at work. I'm just a cancer researcher. That's all. Just easy, straightforward.
That's all.
I just put a mental dollar in the swear jar, okay?
I'm listening to all this and I'm thinking about how awesome every game I play on my PS5 is.
Okay, all right, I got to talk about that too. So I'll get into the week. Total apartment cleaning, like Total Atomic Annihilation from Fallout 4 or any of the Fallout games. I like deep cleaned my apartment Wednesday because I worked from home. Had a couple of appointments, had a doctor's appointment, and then a survey appointment for fiber internet, which will be pretty sweet to get installed. It'll be the same price as my regular internet, but it's a gig up and a gig down, which is wicked cool. Marcus, you're just jealous. It's just nice
I have a gig up.
I'm jealous.
I have a gig up.
No, gig down, you mean?
I have a gig down. I have like 50 up.
Yeah. I pay for 300 down and 300 megabytes down, and then like 10 or 15 up or something like that. Nothing crazy. Standard issue Spectrum. But what was I just saying? Oh, I've been playing a bunch of Starfield, and I forgot why that was relevant to what I was going to talk about.
Well, Starfield is pretty relevant right now.
No, not relevant. It was. I had a different point.
Your point is you're getting fiber internet, so when you're streaming your Starfield to your TV, it's going to be crisp and clear.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So speaking of
you're
consoles,
welcome, Nick.
Thanks, Marcus. You're the best. Anyways, I have way too much fun with the soundboard. I've been thinking. So I tried streaming my games to my computer in my bedroom, which is like right around the corner.
Yes.
And I can't. I'm getting crazy lag, and I can't. I also the Bluetooth on the controller doesn't really stay connected in the next room over, even with the doors open. So I'm like, can I up? I was trying to look up if I upgrade my Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card in my computer, would that help? Or if it's just like too many walls in the way, or like, do they make? I know they make like Wi-Fi extenders for like a mesh network. Does that exist for Bluetooth? So I could get my controller around to the next room. And there's also, I can't tell if it's the Bluetooth that's like having the input delay, because the controller is also like, well, if I like move too much, it'll disconnect from the Bluetooth. Or if it's my internet connection streaming to the TV wirelessly, that's slow. Because I know that definitely has a delay also. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out is my point. And I also looked at just buying an Xbox Series S so I can play Starfield. But like, I wouldn't want to do that.
Well, you could buy a backbone for your phone and just use Game Pass.
That is true.
I have a backbone if you want to try it. And you can use my Xbox login for Game Pass and use it.
No, I got to use my own login because it's attached to my Microsoft account. Starfield is. Because I'm an idiot and bought it through the Microsoft store instead of through Steam by accident. So,
well, here's what I'll say. Buying an Xbox Series S, because aren't they $200?
Yeah, I was looking at used ones, or even cheaper, actually.
Right. So my point is,
it's
or something. Believe it or not, the Xbox Media, using it as like a media hub, is really good. But the Xbox,
I have Roku everything, so it's like,
I get it. That's simple.
Be redundant.
But it would be nice because all of the Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes is going to be on Xbox, and that'll be cross play. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nobody cares about PlayStation. It's the worst console ever.
I was considering trading my PlayStation for an Xbox. Honestly.
Oh. Well, the problem,
which like that's not a bad idea, but like I do have a PS5 that just collects dust. unfortunately, because I don't play. I
That
bought
sounds
it.
like a human problem, not
Oh, it is.
not a
Yeah.
hardware problem.
No, definitely. But I'm like, I'm trying to solve this human problem with the. What do you just find a flashlight?
Have you tried turning the PS5 on and sitting in front of it with the controller and playing a game?
Okay.
But yes, the problem is you can't do that for Starfield. If I could play Starfield on it,
Oh, that's true.
then I would not be having this conversation, and I'd just put my PS5 in the living room more. I'd love to be able to do it in the living room too, but
Here's the thing about a console versus a computer. A console is only good for like RPGs, action games, the controller.
well, multiplayer games too.
You're telling me
Call
you're
of
going to play
Duty?
Call of Duty with a controller?
Well, a lot of people do. I don't anymore.
Well, yes, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I could never go back. And for me, sitting on your couch 15 feet from the TV is not what I like. I like being up on my 27-inch monitor.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, I have a 65-inch TV in my bedroom, so if
It's
I played
still
in there-
tiny. Yeah, but it's still when you're playing far away, I feel like it's not as crisp. I don't know.
not. Yeah, but like the portion of my visual field that takes up is close enough to the same amount of my visual field as a computer monitor, to where it's like I will trade the comfort. It's an acceptable trade-off of being able to lay down and play versus sit at the desk and play. Because like I feel like I would extend my gaming time by about an hour or so before I fall asleep. Because there's like sitting at a desk tired, and then there's laying in bed falling asleep tired. There's two different levels of I should go to bed.
Yeah, but again, I guess I'm just a PC gamer through and through now.
Yeah.
I have an Xbox. My son really wants a PS5, and I am anti it.
Sounds like
Well-
an amazing kid.
Yeah. Ryan is awesome. Well, I mean, I know somebody that'll trade you.
Well, you can just take my Xbox for all I care. Use it for a little while. Try. What you should do is take my Xbox, try it, see if you like it. Because if you do, if you like the Xbox, buying the Game Pass and paying $15 a month is actually worth it for you. You
Yeah.
buy the PC Game Pass because then you can play it on your PC or you can play it on the console. And you're paying
Right.
essentially $15 a month for every new game that comes out. Except
it's not
the PlayStation exclusives.
And then I can play that on the PS5.
Yeah, but the thing is are the PlayStation exclusives really that important?
Some of them are. Like, I do intend to play God of War Ragnarok. It's just sitting in my disk drive over there. The problem is Starfield came out, so now I'm engrossed in that. But I really want to play the Spider-Man game too. I really liked the first one. And I have Horizon Forbidden West. Like, there's a catalog of games I would definitely spend like 100+ hours on, or at least a good 80+ for Spider-Man.
But
Yeah.
what are you most likely to play? If Horizon Forbidden West comes out on the PC, you're playing it on the PC.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm only using the PS5 because I can't play it on PC.
Right.
But I would still like to play those games. And I have the technology. So
The only
I just need to go do it.
the only game that I would actually lower myself to play is because
Whoa.
All right.
You're so incendiary, Marcus.
Yes, because I'm not swearing. No, really, truly, there's really only one game, and it's going to end up being a trilogy that
Oh, sorry.
would really intrigue me to buy a PlayStation and play it, and that's the Final Fantasy VII Remake games, because that's nostalgia for me.
Okay.
The first one is out on Steam. Meaning,
It is?
Yes, I own it. I own it on both.
Really? I'm pulling up the store right now.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's the one with the Yuffie expansion too. It's called Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade something.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here.
Square Enix likes putting extra words.
It's
On their
$70. Adding to my wish list. Wow.
Yeah, I bought it when it was on sale, but it'll go on sale someday, especially when the second one's out. They're going to want people who don't want to drop 70 on the second one to spend
Drop
25, and you can play the first one and get ready for the second one.
Right.
And then you like it and so much you buy the $70 one. And
That's
boom,
right.
they just roped you into
It's got
spending
95.
instead of 70. Yeah.
Man, that game's so good though.
I never got into the Final Fantasy games. I haven't gotten into any JRPGs besides Pokemon, really.
Okay, so Threads has updated their algorithm this week
Okay.
to where they don't use hashtags on this app. So what people have been doing is writing, "Dear algorithm, send me the following kinds of people." And then you just list all the different kinds of people. So for me, I'm like, people interested in video games, mental health, mythology, the hero's journey,
Yeah.
cosplay, fan conventions, and like I've literally gotten almost 200 new followers in the last 48 hours on this app. Okay.
Wow.
What is Threads?
It's the Meta / Facebook, Instagram app that they launched during the summer, I think earlier in this year.
Yeah.
And it's designed to do what Twitter does, but without the overlord.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It's just-
so
They're trying to make
Twitter
a Twitter
sucks.
competitor.
Why does Twitter
Yeah.
suck?
Oh, it like super sucks. For me, I can post something and nobody that would benefit from reading it will ever see it. It's like decided who is going to interact with me, and that's the best I'm ever going to do. Unless bots follow me randomly throughout the day. So anyway, back to the story. Wait, why am I even talking about Threads? This was directly connected to whatever Nick was saying.
Final Fantasy. I
C7.
never got into Final Fantasy.
So one of the things I did yesterday to try to get new people to find me that are perfectly suited to meet me, like
Yeah.
Geek Therapy, mental health, video game fans, right?
Right.
Is I listed my top 10 games ever that you should know about in order to know me. And Final Fantasy VII was my number one.
Number one, really?
Yeah, it is I thought about this a lot.
Wow.
And Final Fantasy VII is the most important game you need to know about in order to know me.
That's I don't know what my list would look like. I mean, I know like 4 or 5 probably, but like, I don't know what I would put.
It
You have
literally
to-
took me about half an hour to write that post too.
You have to
I bet.
you have to pay for Threads.
No,
It says pricing.
you can't do it on the computer. It's an app only. No, you can. You pay
Marcus
for the
is-
blue
Marcus
check
is on-
mark.
Marcus is on some scam website.
No,
that's
it
like,
says Threads.
like,
no,
it's
there's
Threads. It's Threads with an S, not a Z.
no, it's Threads.
It's
It says
Threads.
pricing. Oh, this is for if you want to use it for like your business.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. The blue check mark costs money, but that's standard for all of them now.
Okay,
Right.
so I'm sorry. I'll be completely honest. I had no idea what this was, so I had to do a little bit of investigating.
I
Yeah,
getcha.
if you use Instagram regularly, you probably know what it is because they will create your account with one button press out of Instagram. So,
Right.
yeah, like for me, since I'm trying to have my brand and have it extend beyond just streaming, right? Because if everything that you have that you need is in Twitch or on Kick, then Twitter is good enough. Like just reaching out with Twitter, you don't need to do 7 different social media apps. But what I've found with my goals is I have to do all of them. And but right now I'm having a lot of fun because it turns out since there's no hashtag system in Threads, every word in your post affects who's going to find you,
Sweet.
especially if it's a noun. So they're probably going to change it. And it's not going to be awesome like this forever, but
That is
I'm
cool.
enjoying
though.
it this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if they create just another Twitter, people aren't going to leave because the people are on Twitter. No matter what you say, you can say Twitter sucks, but that's where all the people are. So many people say, oh, I'm going to leave Twitter. And a week later, they're back on it because whatever platform they tried to go to, there isn't anybody to listen to them.
Well, but hear me out, Marcus. I need to refute something you said. I have been posting on all the traditional social medias daily for weeks. I've been treating it like it's a business goal. And so, for instance, if I post 2 things about mental health and gaming on Twitter, there will be 0 comments. There might be 2 likes, and that's the end of my social media day. I posted 2 comments that I wrote for myself and hit post on Threads, and I can't, I have to ignore the app in order to focus on work because I've had over 300 unique interactions where I have to type a response to people today.
Wow.
So whatever they're doing is causing people who would be interested in geek therapy and video games, mental health for gamers,
to see it.
To see it, I said my number 8 game was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and I had multiple people talk to me about how important Darth Revan is for them. And I have never experienced something like that on Twitter outside of the first night that I ever did Utini Cast, and people hitting follow on me and saying they were interested in my research idea. And that means that I've never captured the algorithm in anything I've ever done.
Huh.
So to agree with you, and I understand where you're going with this. I understand, and that's part of the reason why I switched to Kick. I have this, I am this small in the world of video game streaming. I don't have time to make videos. I don't have time to do extra stuff on social media. I stream video games. That's all I do. I am a streamer. I am not a content creator. We have a podcast. I stream. That's it. There's
you create content then because of the podcast.
Well, yes, but what I'm saying is I'm not doing all of the extra things like what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making videos. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. But the point is, the reason why I switched to Kick is because if I have 3 years left to streaming or just an opportunity to grow the podcast in a new platform, the pool is smaller. Like you on Threads, there's less people. So the people that are on Threads, just like the people that are on Kick, are eager to meet new like-minded people and help grow that community. So your 300 comments kept you engaged in the platform, and you're like, oh my God, I'm getting way more here than I get from Twitter or X, whatever you call it. But the point, yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. He's just building Skynet. That's it. But anyway, my point is
it going to blow up before it reaches the atmosphere?
I think if it hits the firmament. But anyway, oh,
come on.
Well, what did you expect me to say? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I agree with you, Doc, because if there's 5 million people on Threads and 100 million people on Twitter, your posts are most likely going to be seen by those million that are on Threads because they've typed in what they want to hear, and it's not this giant thing. Just like Twitch. There's 9 million streamers on Twitch. I think there's 500,000 streamers on Kick. Your opportunity to grow and meet people is bigger there. Because, listen, I'm never going to be verified or a partnered streamer. That's not my goal. The goal is to play video games with friends and grow the podcast.
Not with that attitude, you won't.
But no, in 2023, I don't have what it takes. Sorry. I'm just doing it to have fun and grow the podcast and hopefully meet awesome people. But the point is, now that I know what Threads is, I'm going to check it out. And I'll make sure I find you.
Yeah, it's at Dr. Gameology on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anywho, this calls for a soundbite.
Meanwhile, back on the ranch.
Starfield, which I've been playing a lot of this week, is awesome.
That was so 20 minutes ago.
Exactly. Starfield's great. I have not figured out how to be able to play it not sitting at my desk, but that's okay. I have 2 ships now instead of 1. I have the Frontier and the Razor Leaf, and I'm basically Space Batman now. I'm not going to elaborate on that if you haven't played the game. I need to create an outpost so I can craft things more. Like, I've been realizing that crafting weapons in your armor is how you really get like the actually better gear. Like, you do find plenty, but like when you actually crafting it makes it a lot better. To where you can like have OP stuff for your player level. Yeah, it's interesting. The crafting system is really important in general. There's a whole research component to it, so you have to like research like the recipes for mods or recipes for foods you're trying, or like recipes for how to make different like drugs, which is interesting. And then you have to actually go do it and make them at a different station. So you have like a research station and then also the different crafting stations, which is cool. And there's points where you can take drugs that like let you get like, I forget what they call it, scientific breakthrough moments. But what that means is like it usually would cost XYZ resources. And sometimes you just don't need to use that resource if you have like a scientific breakthrough to make something, which is cool. I think it's awesome. But yeah, the game's great. Still a little clunky with the menus, but otherwise I'm having a really good time. Also in fun what I've got going on this weekend, just fun news, I guess. Friend of the show, Fernando, is staying over my apartment this weekend since we're both working the local paintball tournament, Outback Paintball Series, Saturday and Sunday. And he's from a galaxy far, far away. So staying in my apartment's a lot closer. And we get to hang out, and it's going to be great. Marcus, do we have any AE news?
Tuesday nights
Are the place to be in AIE?
Tuesday, October 24th, Clan Night is back. I had to take a hiatus, going to Disney next week. But October 24th, 9 p.m. Eastern, Clan Night is back. We'll be doing all the fun things. Check out all of the fun stuff at aie-guild.org. There's something fun going on in almost every game, almost every night of the week in AIE. And if all this,
there it is.
And if what?
I was going to say, are you not going to read that part?
I was waiting for you. But anyways, if all this sounds fun to you, go to aie-guild.org. Click on the Discord button at the top right-hand corner of the page. Ask for a guild invite. Whether or not you play one of the many MMOs or you're just playing a single-player game, ask for some sort of guild invite for that game because we would love to have you. So normally we would take a break here, and I know that Nick probably does have to use the bathroom. I never do, but I guess we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
I just did that.
I know, but I did it better.
My God, what is taking him so goddamn long?
Nick, hurry up, man.
It's all that beer you're drinking. Come on, bro.
Bros before hoes, man. Get off Snapchat.
And we're back. So today we're talking with the Dr. Gameology about his new video series, Geek Therapy for Gamers. So what tell us? I asked you on the pre-show, and I should have saved it for the show. But tell us about your YouTube series.
Yeah. So one of the things that I keep running into when I talk to people about growing my channel and making it more visible and helpful and who's my audience is people kept telling me, including Marcus for like 6 years, people kept telling me I need to be on YouTube. I need to be figuring out YouTube, that the thing that I'm trying to highlight in the world is not a message that's designed for Twitch, specifically for Twitch, because the demographic of who's on Twitch as a viewer doesn't line up with my goal, so
right.
That's the marketing speak. So then if I'm
I feel
on
like
YouTube,
I've heard that before.
Yeah, I gave you credit for telling me that
I
6
know.
years ago.
I know.
But Marcus, remember, wants to be, what did you say? Would rather be frustrated with someone than listen to them.
Yeah, that is an amazing point, Nick. Someone very wise beyond their years must have come up with that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the question for me became, what is your goal? And if the goal occurs on YouTube, then what would that look like? What is the goal on YouTube? So my video series about geek therapy for gamers is designed to give me just a spot where I can explain things for the people that are my audience. So when I'm playing a video game, it's all fun for me. It's not ultimately the same thing as a lecture. It's not an explanation video. I can do just chatting for a little bit, but people are waiting for me to finish whatever it is I'm talking about and start playing the game eventually. So when you create a YouTube video and you create a thumbnail and a title, and people who are interested in that topic or search for something close to it, it'll pop up on their dashboard and they'll have a choice to click it or not click it. And then if they do, then hopefully these are gamers that want to understand, oh, this guy's saying video games can be good for my mental health. That's different than what all the other people older than me are saying. Right. It could be a clinician like me. I did my master's degree. Never once the entire master's program did video games come up for an assignment, for a discussion question, or during a lecture. It just wasn't part of the mental health curriculum back in the early 2000s. So, or approaching 2010. But, meanwhile now I'm a professor and I've had some influence on the curriculum at my school. And there are several discussion questions in the master's program that talk about what video games are. And it's not all bad. Some of it is about video games as a coping skill or as a creative behavioral strategy for people. Mm-hmm. And so master's students now are going to have a much more balanced perspective than I ever did, which is awesome. But most counselors were educated before I was still. So, maybe the videos reach them and they get to hear someone who has accomplished a lot of things in the field with video games and psychology, and it'll change their mind about what a game is. And I had a student recently. I teach the master's level internship class. So these students are done being in the classroom. They're out in the field getting their hours so that they can get their master's degree in a handful of months. And that's the end of grad school for a lot of them. Yeah. And I had a student in our group supervision say, I had this adolescent girl, and the session was so hard. She wouldn't participate and she didn't say anything important to me except that she was playing a lot of Roblox. And I couldn't figure out what to do during the session because she wouldn't do anything counseling related. Except, she breathed after she said that. And I said, did you really just tell Dr. Gameology, your professor, that all your client did was talk about Roblox and how that had nothing to do with the counseling session? Roblox is a personality test. It tells you everything about what that person's interested in, how they plan to overcome problems and just push obstacles out of their way, how they want to manipulate their surroundings and create a world that they would prefer to live in. What they want to download from other people, what they need in order for time to be interesting to them. Roblox is whatever you want it to be. And because of that, it is one of the best video games to talk with people about.
Right.
It's also
Roblox or like Minecraft.
Minecraft is also,
So also Roblox is the most toxic game I've ever been involved in. I had to seriously do some hardcore parental stuff for my son to play that game.
Oh,
well, that's true too. And I bring that up as well. At the end of the day, any game can become bad. In fact, there is a game dev concept called TTP when you create a video game that has user-created content in it. Tears of the Kingdom has TTP. Roblox has TTP. Minecraft definitely has TTP. Do any of you know what TTP is?
Something
It is
about I know what it is. But go
time
ahead.
to penis. How long will the game community have this game before they create a penis?
Yes.
Yep. Because human beings are terrible organisms
Wait
that
a
are
minute.
fascinated by
Wait.
only one thing.
Wait, is that for
Genitalia.
real? Is that really true?
Yes, like
yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I was
Jeez,
listening
well,
to a podcast that has several people in the industry. They were actually sharing how games are made in this one particular clip, and I learned this from an actual person who owns a game studio, and I was like, that is so true based on everything that I hear about in counseling sessions.
well, it's the truth because anytime I see a whiteboard, I draw one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Can confirm. Got a couple of whiteboards in my apartment, and every time Marcus comes by, I find a new illustration.
So back at the ranch,
Oh yeah.
the Geek Therapy
Wait,
for gamers.
wait.
Meanwhile, back on the ranch.
I have
There
a
we
button
go.
for
Thank
that.
you, Nick. So, the Geek Therapy for Gamers idea is me tapping into the full effort of what it is I do with the psychology of games and doing it in a way where you see the games that have made me who I am, but they aren't the distraction. I'm not trying to play them right now. I'm explaining the real message while you see things on the screen that go along with what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
so the video, I created 2 videos this week that go along with this effort. I've updated the banner, all of my social media. I've changed my profile picture to where it's me with my Black Mage hat. I want people to understand that this is me as a gamer, Final Fantasy 14, and all the fantasy games I play. The Dr. Gameology logo is still there, but I want them to get to know me. And that's what these videos are there to do. So have the intro video for people who haven't subbed yet. And then I have this video about how do video games become an effective tool in the therapy process? You know, what kinds of things can people be facing in life where video games will be a nice escape for them? So things like depression and anxiety and trauma. If you are being affected by those things, then playing a video game can give you some relief for a period of time where instead of ruminating, which is when you have depressive thoughts, you just keep circling around the drain. And every thought you have just leads to the next thought about how sad and disappointing and stuck life is. Video games break that cycle. They really do. And sometimes counselors even talk about this like it's a bad thing, like you're escaping and avoiding life. And that can happen. But most of the time, escape is a powerful thing that humans use to survive. And I really believe that play therapy can be helpful with all kinds of age ranges, but including children and adolescents. And the way we play now is not a cup and a ball. It's not, as much rolling dice. There's lots of great board games you can use in therapy, but most clinicians don't own them. And if you do own them, the clients you happen to have aren't interested in playing them.
Right.
But if I break out a Nintendo Switch and I give the client the left Joy-Con and I have the right Joy-Con and we have to work together to do 10 minutes of Breath of the Wild, and then we talk about how do you communicate when you're working together. It's like doing a 3-legged race.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be terrible.
It would be terrible, and that's the point.
Right.
But it's fascinating at the same time.
Yeah,
exactly. It's a way to teach a parent and a child who don't talk about anything that is super meaningful to get past that idea that I don't need you. I don't need to talk with you about these things that are happening inside of my mind. And now, this activity is going to super suck unless we figure out how to talk. Right. And then by learning how to talk with something that's not personal, it's just fun and confusing.
Right.
That's what video games are. They're fun and confusing challenges that we were meant to figure out.
Right.
And one of the things that makes me what I am that I want to pass on to people is everything in life, even things that matter a lot, is a game. And that mentality isn't meant. A lot of people hear that, especially when I'm at professional conferences, and they think I'm being ridiculous and I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid. And maybe I am. My Kool-Aid's awesome, though. So let's just talk about what that means. Is if I believe something's a game, then I believe the challenge was created so that I could defeat it.
Right. It's beatable.
And it's beatable.
Yeah.
And that has helped me a lot more often than it's hurt me. And I know that there are systemic issues where people can't try to overcome every challenge, and that would actually be bad for them and put them in a bad situation. So there are limits to this philosophy. It's not a cure-all. But I think that a lot of times, just like that do or do not philosophy, with video games, if you play them long enough, you're going to beat them.
Right.
Right.
I don't wait.
Especially nowadays. We're not talking about the NES or the Atari, Marcus.
No, I'm talking about Elden Ring. Forget that game. Okay?
How many hours did you put into it, Marcus?
12. I've never played a game like that in my life.
How far did you get?
I don't know. I got some underground troll guy, and he destroyed. He was like everybody was saying. It was the instance boss, so he was definitely a boss.
It was in one of the dungeons in the cave.
Yeah, it was in a cave, and you go in, and there's these like workers, and they're like swinging like their sticks with fire on them, and they beat the living shit out of you. And you had to get to an elevator, and the only way to get to this troll is you had to jump off the elevator
at the middle of the way down.
Yeah, in the middle of the way down, and then you go down into this basement, and if you run past all of those guys, then you don't have to fight them. But if they follow you to the elevator and the elevator isn't up, you're dead. So when you go down, you have to make sure you click the elevator on. So when you die, the elevator is back up waiting for you so that you can survive to get back down to the boss room. Okay. Then you go into this boss room. He's a giant troll, and he's not hard. But the mechanics of that game are so hard and so infuriating. Like, I want to be good at that game. My body can't handle it. The stress level of that game is another level of something that I've never experienced.
I really should play that.
So, on the topic of Elden Ring, my second chapter in a psychology of game is published, and the book is about to be available on paperback. If you bought an ebook, you already have it, and that is The Psychology of Elden Ring. I'm the final chapter in the book.
Oh, cool.
And personally, I've beaten the game 5 times.
Wow. Okay.
So what happens is you beat the game, you go back through, you start the game over, and everything is harder. You die faster, and if you can imagine that. But your player level is higher, too, for that next run through. So they kill you faster because you're stronger and have better stuff.
Right.
So, Marcus, there are things going on in that dungeon where if you've played 12 hours, which I think is what you told me.
Yes.
If you just ran through the dungeon killing things, saving your runes, going back to the campsite and resting so that they respawn, go kill them again, keep your runes, go back to the campsite, rest, respawn them, kill them, carry your runes, and level up about 5 to 10 times with specific skills that are helpful in that boss fight, then you would be at 20 hours, you would have grinded thousands and thousands of runes, and it would be more of a fair fight.
The problem is the regular enemies destroy me as well.
Have you tried playing the game well, Marcus?
No, I can't. It does not compute with my brain.
Okay, well that's fine. Not every game is meant to be enjoyable for every player.
But I want to play it because the game is amazing.
It is. It's one of the coolest games I've ever played.
But I can't, like, you know, I don't want to say I can't because you always can, but legitimately, a stupid knight with a shield kills me every time. And he's just a random guy walking down the sidewalk going for a walk. He's going out there having a smoke and a pancake, and he's killing me.
Yeah.
You got to stab him in the back. You got to stealth him.
I don't even know how to do that. I'm not stealth.
You crouch.
You crouch.
You walk slow. You get behind him. And then you
initiate press the attack
the backstab.
Okay, so that works fine there. But then you go into a little camp because there's a treasure chest in there, and there's 5 of them. And
that treasure chest is a trap.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you need to not go for the shiny thing. You're like a Boo in Aladdin, Marcus. Do you remember what happened when he grabbed the red gem?
Yeah.
Yes, and then that's when the tiger started, or
the
something.
The cave
happened.
melts and turns to lava, and you got to do the magic carpet ride, and you barely escape with your life.
Right,
magic carpet if you come a whole new world.
That's later in the
God.
movie. You're serenading me. I was not expecting that on this episode. But if you came back when you're about 50 levels higher, you would melt everything in there and go grab your chest and be super happy with yourself.
I should not have to, like, that's in the beginning area. Like, I didn't even fight the first boss. He's in the first, wait. No, he's in the first mile of the game.
I know, but that doesn't mean you're supposed to be able to kill it right now.
Right.
The very first enemy you see when you come out of the
it's the guy on the horse.
You're not supposed to kill him right now. The game is telling you right there, get used to being powerless, bub. You know, it's Wolverine talking to you there. Like, you can't do it. You have to play like it's a survival horror game until you become the chosen one.
Right. I mean, even in Pokemon, going way back to Red and Blue and Yellow and stuff, like, especially Yellow, because you start off with electric type, and then you got to go fight Brock as your first gym.
Oh,
like
that's a good moment in gaming history right there.
Yeah, like you have to grind the first gym leader. You have to go grind in the grass to like get your levels up and it's all Pokemon that are not strong against rock types. So like I think I don't remember the specifics. I think it's grass and like some birds and stuff like that. So like all of them don't have the like type advantage at all,
right?
Or the really disadvantage. So it makes you grind, and it's supposed to teach you that this game you're going to need to grind in between these boss battles. You can't just jump from boss to boss.
My first book chapter I wrote for Psychology of Games was in Psychology of Pokemon.
I
talked specifically about the choice to pick Charmander, which is what I picked as a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And how that teaches you stuff about life. You know, like that is not the same as picking Squirtle, right? Like Squirtle's ready to go.
Right.
You know, Charmander taught me you got to go walk around in the grass, buddy, because it's not happening. And Marcus, it sounds to me in Elden Ring like you don't want to walk around in the grass, buddy.
No, it's not it at all. I walked around plenty in the grass. It's the mechanics of just getting annihilated every single place I turn. Like
that's what Elden Ring is.
Right. That's why it's not for me.
We could duo it. We could do do the mod where you multiplayer it.
No, that means I suck. And like,
no, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
That's like, think about how cool that would be compared to where we started with SWTOR.
No, like I would much rather 2-man or raid in SWTOR than play Elden Ring with somebody and not beat it myself. Like I could play it with somebody if I beat it. Like if I beat the troll boss and then we go back in to beat the troll boss.
The system is part of the game, Marcus. It's just you're modding it so it expands that feature.
Nope, the game is meant
for social reasons.
The game is meant to beat solo. If I can't do it solo, I need help, then I suck and I need to suck less. The problem with that game is you know what it is too? There is zero calm in that game. You are like tense from the moment you start playing it into the moment it gets shut off.
That's not true. It's no.
Listen, I got killed. Oh, wait. I found this cliff walk, okay? And I was just moseying along, and there was a wolf.
Yeah.
I killed the wolf. I was proud of myself. I was on top of a rock, and then 7 wolves jumped on me, and I died. And I had like 2,000 runes, and I couldn't go back there because every time I went back there, there was 7 wolves.
Yeah.
But there was something at the end of that path that was going to be awesome, and I know it.
Well, yeah, because there's 7 wolves guarding it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one thing too is I don't know what your build was, but for me,
Samurai.
I did it. Okay, so you're melee focused. I was magic focused, and that lowers the difficulty early in the game because you have a lot of range attack options, meaning there's a lot more things that you have more time in between dodges because you're not in it. So also the ability to hit multiple enemies with one attack is higher. So for me, I remember early in the game being very difficult, but there was a turning point after unlocking a few spells that changed the game a lot. So you have to find your personality and the way you think, and then you have to find a build that maximizes that thought process. Because you have natural tendencies that you're never going to rewire. And so you have to find what kind of character can I build in this game that takes advantage of the way I think instead of the way I think being a huge problem.
I think the way my mind thinks is don't ever play this game again.
Oh, this is not even the best topic that we could have for the show.
What do you mean? Wait, no, actually, you got to understand, this is a fantastic topic because, you know, if my frustration from it, like I want to play it. Like they're talking about the new DLC that's coming, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like, I would love to be able to play this game. But like I said, like this is the only game ever in my entire life that I've rage quit from.
So far. I mean,
well, I was gonna say, that's definitely not true. Because I remember you telling me you've broken controllers before.
Broke them, but I still played.
Okay.
I grabbed the other controller. This game, I've been like talking to the guys, and we were all in Discord, and I just
it was funny.
Disappeared. I was just gone.
Yeah.
You haven't beaten it yet. You're still alive. The story's not over.
I'm with Doc. I'm optimistic. I feel like this is going to be a stream thing.
I think this. So it brings this to be. In order for me to play these games, I have to stop playing MMOs.
That is a real mood, though, because MMOs are designed to just ridiculously require engagement.
Yeah.
And in order to really be good at them, there is no time for anything else, at least in the leisure side of your life.
There isn't.
Yeah.
No, so SWOTOR consumed me because I was obsessed with being a Nightmare Raider. Then I realized it's a joke to being a Nightmare Raider. Mm-hmm. And then moving on to Destiny. Destiny, as much as it's different, it's the same thing as SWOTOR is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a live service game.
The highest level of difficulties in those group content things are constructed statistically to the point where even if you do everything right, there's still a huge percentage chance that the group fails. Because if you're trying to do that, you care a lot about the game. You're interested a lot in the game. And they need to have some bosses that cause wipes so that you will continue playing. Because if you beat everything in the game, you will stop playing the game.
100%.
Yeah. And I was thinking about this the last time I streamed Final Fantasy XIV, which was earlier in the week. I finished the story, finally, in the most recent patch. So much sitting and just watching and trying to talk to the chat on Twitch, but realizing that I would like for something action-oriented to happen. So then at the end of all that story, I had time to queue up for a raid. And it was an alliance raid, so there's it's a 24-man group. And there's some difficulty, there's some complex mechanics, but if you die, there's also 6 healers in the group, I think, or no, there might actually be more. I don't actually know the breakdown because I play DPS. So sorry, everyone who loves Final Fantasy XIV. I think it doesn't matter. Your mistakes will get overcome by the group working together. So you're going to win it, right? You're going to play for 40 minutes, 45, 55 minutes. You're going to win the alliance raid. So yes. It's just a fun dynamic. And I was thinking about how at that same exact moment, the Savage raid team that I used to be on is working on they're like 3 or 5 bosses away from finishing the raid series for this expansion. And I was just thinking, like, I miss it. I really do. I miss it. But at the same time, I don't think that mode is for me. And I think that what I need to do in life is a different goal. Like the YouTube videos and like the constant creating online trainings for counselors to understand video games and gambling issues better. I think MMOs require you to do things like that in a less focused way.
I agree. And that, I guess, is my point, that I'm getting to a point where if I have 9 hours a week that I can play a video game, do I want to spend it playing the same MMO game loop over and over and over and over again, or play a single player RPG 2 nights and then play a multiplayer or an MMO 1 night a week just for fun and enjoy the content that way, where you can enjoy the other content? Because I think the kids nowadays use something called FOMO, and I think that there's so many good games now that I feel like I've given up so much game time between SWTOR and Destiny that there's so many games that I want to play that I don't play.
Yeah.
2023 is seriously one of the best years for video game history so far.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, the thing that took me out of Final Fantasy XIV for maybe 6 weeks was Final Fantasy XVI, which shocking plot twist right there, right? But that's a single player game with an amazing hero's journey. Also alternatively, me stepping away from raiding in SWTOR, then stepping away from raiding in Final Fantasy XIV led to me writing The Gamer's Journey, which someday people are going to get to buy and read.
When is it coming out?
I don't know. Hopefully 2024. Hopefully the beginning part of that year. It's in the editing process right now. But I wrote the whole thing. It's just under 100,000 words. 19 chapters. Covers the entire hero's journey using only video games.
Well, that's cool.
Wait, you can't buy Final Fantasy 16 on Steam?
It's not out on Steam yet.
Oh.
Yeah, it's so focused on the PS5 hardware, that they kind of like Final Fantasy VII, right? It was created for PS4, then they made the PS5 version, and then they made the Steam version.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think if they tried to do the PC and the PS5 at the same time, they need more people and it would take longer. I don't know how it works, but it seems like that team at Square Enix is dedicated to the PS5 first.
I think, isn't Square, are they owned by PlayStation or no?
No, I don't think they are.
I feel like a lot of Square Enix games are PlayStation exclusives or focused on.
Well, they have a great relationship with PlayStation, but I don't think they're exclusive.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't know where I'm getting that notion from, but I do get like a lot of their games is like PlayStation first sort of.
Yeah.
Vibe.
Yeah,
but
it was really strange when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out on Xbox. That's such a like, weird brain thing for me. Yeah. But I'm glad like the 5 Xbox players who always wanted to play Kingdom Hearts were able to play it. I don't think the typical Xbox player wants to play Kingdom Hearts. But
yeah, that's kind of.
I think it's cool
actually
that they
disagree.
have the option, right? Like I'm not about the brand war. I think that that's overblown and it's bad for gaming, and it's not even true. I think all of us at this point lived in the brand war era of the early 2000s. But I think all of us just look at our favorite systems and it's like, I want to play all the games that I'm interested in on this system, and I hope one day I can. I hope one day you get all the games that you want to play on your system. You know, I don't gain anything from Marcus never being able to play Kingdom Hearts, for example.
I've played Kingdom Hearts.
It's just an example, since we know how you feel about the best system.
It's just that one analog stick that is in the wrong position.
You can buy a $250 controller and switch it around.
I know. It's called the Astro A40. Anyways, it's time.
Wait. Can I circle back to one thing real quick?
Sure.
I've been waiting for a break in the convo, and I didn't find one. But going back to pretty much the beginning of what you started talking about, how video games can be beneficial to folks with going through different mental difficulties, I'll say. So how the escapism can be productive. I've found personally for myself, I have ADHD, so I don't know if that goes together, but I also have like these avoidance sort of cycles almost, where like I have to like be aware of and watch out for, where like I'll avoid doing something and then, you know, it sort of gets balled up into this larger conglomerate. Like, what was that video game? It begins with a T and it was a Japanese word where you just roll things up until you like rolled up the whole planet. You know what I'm talking about? It was like
I Heart Katamari.
I think it's Katamari something, yeah. But anyways, it like that with problems, and then but when you start thinking about one task that you're avoiding, you get the negative sensation of all of those other tasks you're also avoiding. That can become so it becomes like a cycle. But I don't know if that's the psychological way to describe that.
One quest at a time, Nick.
Exactly. Instead of looking at the whole list and being overwhelmed by the list.
But ADHD doesn't let you look at your quest log in that kind of methodical order. That's how ADHD works, and that's how avoidance works. That's how perfectionism works. Right. You convince yourself that even if you tried, it won't be good enough, and then by the time you have the energy to try, it's an unmanageable ball of chaos.
Right.
And then how do you destroy an unmanageable ball of chaos? One move at a time.
Right. But what I was going to agree with your point about games being, really productive is, for me, I've used that before almost to like get a snowball effect going of like doing the one thing at a time. Or I've like played a game like Call of Duty, for example, and just like done well in a match and be like, all right, let me go do one thing on the list. It's sort of like it feels to me like a similar sort of thought pattern or behavior pattern, I guess, that like I always make it a point to make my bed every morning, and I get a similar like victory that you kind of snowball.
Yeah. You start out with a reward response in your neurotransmitters, and it really can change the way you see all the challenges in your day.
Yeah, it's like snowballs productively, in my experience, anyways.
I personally love lists.
Yeah,
at work. Like, I'll go to the shop and I'll write, build face frame, cut parts, data parts, assemble cabinet. And nothing feels better for me than when I complete those said tasks.
Oh, yeah.
Or if tonight I cut all the parts, you know what I mean? Cross it off the list. Next time you go, cut off this, whatever.
I'm showing my whiteboard behind me. That was my, as a giant check mark, because that was my to-do list for applying to grad school. And then it's like, accepted.
I do the same thing. I did a calendar every day last year until I finished the full draft of my book. I would write down what I wrote about in that square. Now I have a marker board that's the calendar, and it's for content creation. It's that every day I'm going to create something or contribute to the creation of something.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice accountability tool. I like that.
It's also really cool when you're getting to the end of the month. I mean, you have to erase it every month because it's dry erase board, but
yeah.
Like it's so easy for me to tell myself things like I didn't do enough today.
Right.
And, people will tell me when I say things like that I'm being ridiculous. I'm being too hard on myself. And that's nice to hear. But my brain can do a thing where they're just being nice. They don't know how far behind you are and how little you actually did. When you look at the marker board, it's like, yeah, I did all that stuff.
Right. It's like evidence.
So, yeah, it's evidence to like, shut up, brain. You're wrong. Here's what we did do. And you're actually doing a lot. And you told yourself that you can have 2 days every week where you don't upload something new. And so maybe that's one of those days this week is today.
Very nice. I mean, you're making this content that kind of bridges.
Cross
promotion.
I create something every day if we're if we're gonna count things that other people have to edit. Which is the best kind of content.
That's very true.
That is true.
Speaking of content,
it's my favorite time of the show. It's where we ask you, Nerds community, to ask us anything you want, and you might get an answer. It's time for Working Class Questions. Anyways, I'm taking those buttons away from you. Anyways, Nick Vern 51 asks, "What is your
I'm sorry. What was the question?
What is your least favorite part about building a PC?"
Yes, mine was trying to plug in the CPU fan, I believe, towards the top because it was really close to Marcus's radiator and cooling system, so I couldn't get in there and I couldn't see good, and I accidentally stabbed underneath my fingernails a couple times on the pins, which was very annoying. Also, while dealing with tiny parts, I also had to deal with being gassed, like a gas chamber gassed, with what could only be described as a mixture of garlic, sulfur, and rotting flesh throughout the process. That was due to Marcus's flatulence. That's supposed to be a overly wordy joke. Doesn't really translate outside of the show notes, but
that's the dumbest thing
I've
ever.
Anakin probably smelled like.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Doc, what's your least favorite part about building a PC?
I don't know. I've never done it. I just buy machines that are working perfectly fine and put together for me.
Very nice.
I would say the least favorite part of building a PC is turning it on for the first time. Because something's going to be wrong, and then you have to diagnose the problem.
Yeah, and you have to, you don't know what's going to be wrong, so you're like, how big of is this going to be a 3 clicks problem, or is it going to be like a 4-hour, 2-week problem,
Right. Nick also asks, what were the benchmark results when I tested it? I'll stay tuned for next week or 2 weeks from now episode, because it'll just be Nick and A-Trax next week.
Yes.
Because I think my benchmark was running off the internal graphics card. And even if it wasn't
Integrated graphics?
The integrated graphics, because it didn't seem right, but I disabled the internal graphics, or integrated, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll have those tests. I'm actually going to do a benchmark test after the podcast to see where it sits, but pretty exciting.
That is awesome. So, Atrax, speaking of which, Atrax asks, see, I don't know what he's... Oh, I got it now. This is not a question. This is referring to my previous comment. His actual question asks, what's the easiest part, in your opinion, to break on a PC? Easiest to break.
Oh, audio.
Audio?
My audio can get screwed up without even me knowing, just because there's a glitch in the matrix, and it takes me like an hour to figure out why.
Every time I switch what game I'm streaming, there's audio problems that stream.
Huh.
And the only way you know is if the Twitch chat tells you.
Right, because you can't hear your own stream, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Very true. I think I would agree with that audio, but if you meant physically which part's easiest to break, I'm going to go with the video card, because it's a big honking device that you have to screw it in the back, but then it's just got those PCI slots. I feel like you can break that off by accident.
I was really afraid one of you were going to say whichever part so-and-so is putting together.
That's fair.
What's the easiest part to break? I would say for me, is the liquid cooling. It scares me because when you have a liquid cooled PC and it stops cooling, you don't know unless you have a temperature gauge running at all times to tell you the temperature of your CPU. Because if it gets too hot, then you know you're burning it out.
I guess that makes sense. Marcus, who's our next questions from?
It's from our guest himself, Mr. Doctor Gameology.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the Mr. of the Doctor Gameology asked, what does gaming have to do with mental health?
All right. So we've already answered this a few different ways, but this is very direct. Video games, at least the way I look at them, are all about our psychology and our mental health, because they are a digitally constructed set of challenges, one after the other. We are given a set of abilities, a character to use, and it's our job to figure out how to solve the problem. And a lot of things that we do in life, from building a PC to showing up at work on time and doing the job well, to putting together and editing a podcast, these are all challenges that we are going to have to show up and overcome. We have our abilities, but we also have things we don't do well that we can do well with higher effort. So we have our natural, what's going to be easy for us, but also what's going to be difficult for us. And if we remember that, then the lessons we get from a video game, for me, Super Mario Brothers on the NES, all the way through, GoldenEye on the N64, Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1, Resident Evil, all of them.
Yep.
These are games that have different amounts of difficulty and different design choices, but they're all games that I played as a child, under 18. Yeah. And they're all games that I thought a lot about while I was learning also how to get to the next phase of childhood, get to the next step, become an adult. I was playing Demon Souls when I was in grad school. I was playing Star Wars The Old Republic when I was working on my PhD. So for me, all of these games were mixing with periods of time where important growth was happening. And so while I'm trying to get a good SAT score, I'm also figuring out how to, defeat Darth Malak and save Bastila.
Oh my God, Malak.
Yeah. While I'm, getting ready to start my career as a counselor, I'm trying to get as many triple S combos as possible with Dante and Nero and Devil May Cry. And, when I had a client once that is definitely like 24 years younger than me. Okay, so adolescent.
Wow.
Right, adolescent client.
Okay.
And I just asked them, what's a game you've been playing that we can use to figure out how to do things in life better? And then he just very quickly said, Devil May Cry 5. I was like, oh, I've got you now. Because Devil May Cry 1 through 4 are games that I played all of them like straight through as a master's student. And I love Devil May Cry 5. But 4 is it for me. Actually, my character in Final Fantasy 14 is named Kyrie because that is the name of the girlfriend you're trying to save in Devil May Cry 4. So fun crossover fact. Anyway, in the combo system of Devil May Cry, you can win fights as long as your health bar doesn't go down. But it's not about winning the fights. It's about getting an A, getting an S, a double S, or if you're really good, smoking sexy style, the triple S. And so, when you're talking with an adolescent about, I turned in my homework on time. Yeah, but how much time did you spend on it? Did you answer the questions right? Were your answers detailed, or did you just throw the smallest thing that you could be bothered to write on paper? Was that assignment a triple S, or was it a B?
Right.
Devil May Cry teaches us that. I mean, it's not a English literature essay, but it teaches us that it's not just about doing it; it's about how well you did it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just one lesson out of thousands that video games can teach us about how to live life.
I know myself. What does gaming have to do with me for mental health? I know that I don't get a lot of me time. So when I come down to this oasis, Nick hasn't been here in a while, and it meant a lot to me because it means a lot to me when he said, wow, Marcus, your office is awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's
really
like,
cool.
It's really small, but like, it's just enough. It's mine. And when you're in here, I like all of the problems from the day just go away.
Yeah.
Because I get to just be me. That's where, what it does for me, but also too, it also like things in games can make you feel really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it's more of like,
oh my God. Yes, we could hear the GoldenEye music.
yes, like this makes me feel like good.
Yeah, that's nostalgia.
Right. Yeah, and I'm going around with the golden gun annihilating mother truckers. You know what I mean?
See, I like the guy with the hat. What was his name?
You can't play Odd Job because he's shorter. Yeah. Nope. The default aiming level is higher than his head, and that's not fair.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, that's funny.
So Doc, what were your thoughts on the Ahsoka series? And don't spoil the last episode. Don't spoil the last episode because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so Marcus, all the other times I've been on Working Class Nerds, you have asked me who my favorite Star Wars character is. That's kind of your move. Do you remember my answer?
Anakin.
So you ask me how I feel about Ahsoka?
Right.
It's the Star Wars era where Disney bought it. I've gone through a lot of therapy.
Okay.
No, like literally, I am feeling much better as a person than I did the last time I was on this show.
Okay.
And part of that has affected the way I see Star Wars is I don't think what was happening with the previous movies was a version of Star Wars that was comfortable being Star Wars. I think it was trying to fix Star Wars or do something innovative with Star Wars.
Talking about the sequel trilogy?
Yes, I think that the vision there was like, I'm going to create a version of Star Wars that fixes the prequels, and then I'm going to do a version of Star Wars that fixes The Force Awakens, and then I'm going to do a version of Star Wars because they told me I have to.
Right.
And I think that everything we're seeing on Disney Plus, for me, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka are about the Force. It's about Jedi. It's about surviving Order 66 and still being alive and what that means being in this galaxy. And Ahsoka has that direct connection to a character that meant a lot to me in my college years, and that's Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. So I love it. I wish there were more episodes. I know there's going to be a season 2. I just don't want to wait for it. I loved it. I think it's so cool seeing Night Sisters on screen. I think it's so cool seeing things that remind you of characters like Darth Nihilus. Things that oh my gosh, Marcus, the Apprentice with the blonde hair, Lana Beniko, right?
Yeah,
like straight up. And also the
Balin
guy,
looks like Valkorian.
Balin looks like Valkorian.
Right.
Well, they clearly that's what I was actually going to say is my favorite part of Ahsoka was the Night Sisters, because if you don't know, like, I love watch the finale. I'm going to, but like the whole, like, if Ventress was in the original movies, she would be my favorite Star Wars character.
She was supposed to, but then they got Christopher Lee, which is a good move for the legacy of Star Wars. I understand why they did it.
But what I'm saying is like the whole Night Sister Force culture, all of that fascinates me. Yeah. And that's why, like in SWTOR, when they released the Night Sister outfit, I bought that right away. Like, I purchased that because I love that whole idea of Dathomir, the Night Sisters. And then when they introduced that in the series, it was above and beyond. But I remember when the first Ahsoka trailer came out and they showed Shin Hati.
That's right. Thank you.
Shin Hati and Balin's skull.
Yeah, Shin Hati. When they showed her, I said, that's Lana. They're making Lana live action from SWTOR. But the fact that they stole that character from SWTOR makes me realize that they are opening their eyes. And you could say it's Filoni, whatever. He's finding the content. Yeah.
It is Filoni,
I think Filoni and
Favreau,
I think they just love everything about Star Wars. And I think if you compare their duo to Abrams and Johnson, I think it's pretty obvious that Abrams and Johnson don't love everything about Star Wars. I think that's what the difference is. And I think that that's really magical when you put creators in charge of things that they love.
I can't agree more.
Yeah.
I always want more episodes, but at the same time, I would rather less episodes if every episode was an hour at least.
That's true. They are short. I want to add one thing, though, because I know what I just said. For people who love the sequel trilogy, I want them to have one more thing for me to really understand what I mean. That's just more of an academic critique because I grade papers all day. Yeah. I did my first ever trip to Europe this year, which means I was on a plane long enough to watch all 3 sequel trilogy movies back to back to back with no break.
Ugh.
And And I just want to share what that did for me is I told myself, I'm not critiquing these. I'm not grading them like papers. I'm not looking for inconsistencies. Rey is a Palpatine the whole time. That is fact. That is truth. And from the first minute of episode 7, I'm watching it that way. And it was fine. It really was. It was a very enjoyable experience watching that set of 3 movies all together. And I know I've been on many podcasts, Zucchini my show, this show, and I've struggled with being positive about some things there. But I just want to share that just because you struggle with a movie doesn't mean your opinion about that movie always has to stay the same the rest of your life. And for people who enjoyed it faster than me, I'm happy for you. I just needed to go to Europe and get stuck on a plane.
Yeah.
The sequel, I can't go down this rabbit hole. Nope,
No,
I digress.
That's okay. We can talk about some of the other projects I'm doing.
Yes. What else are you working on?
Well, my chapter in the Psychology of Umbrella Academy, which is going to come out probably next year. Completely accepted. I'm done. I'm not editing anymore. So talking about the family dynamics of all of the entire, all the kids in the academy.
Yes.
The cast. So my chapter is based on the comic version, but I do acknowledge some of the Netflix occurrences in the first season. And I'm really proud with how that turned out because that's my first Geek Therapy chapter on a non-video game property. I'm almost done with my chapter for the psychology of The Witcher. And that is about
That's cool.
reward systems and how it encourages us to connect with the world of the game as Geralt and Geralt. I don't know why I said it so weird there. Yeah. So after I write that, I go straight into writing my chapter on the psychology of The Last of Us. And somewhere in there, my book will come out too. So in hopefully a year's worth of time, I will have 1 full book and 5 book chapters, all focused on geek fandom and gamer culture.
That's awesome. I'm really happy for you.
Me
well
too,
deserved,
man.
sir.
Yeah. Hard work gets results.
Right.
That's really true. You have to sit down when you could relax, when you could play a game and write about the ideas you have if you were playing it.
Right.
Doritos asks, Doc, what is the typical reaction from parents when you explain to them that their child is normal and playing video games isn't doing anything to their mental health?
Okay, I want to modify the question a little bit. I would never say that video games is doing nothing to their mental health. I would actually encourage the parent to hear me out and realize it's doing great things for their mental health. But in that same conversation, it's their kid's job to make me look good. If I'm going out there and defending that you can play games and still be a good kid, and you tell your mom and dad to F off because you don't feel like doing the thing they asked you to do, that's a attitude problem, right? And if video games are making your attitude go down because you think it's okay to treat people like absolute garbage because you'd rather be doing Fortnite, then maybe you shouldn't be playing Fortnite. Maybe that is not turning you into the best version of yourself.
Right.
But again, that's not actually Fortnite's fault. That's you becoming a jerk when you don't get your way, which is a sign of being overly attached and things like that. So, it's important for us to have a standard of who we want to be. And when you're a kid, you don't have that. You have to develop that. And that's what parenting's about, and guidance and learning the difference between right and wrong. And sometimes video games can actually teach that. I just mentioned The Witcher. I think that it's really interesting how your personal sense of what is justice based, so what is just, I have to talk with this person and get information. Oh, but by the way, he keeps having prostitutes brought into his his house. He's hanging them from the rafters, stabbing them and watching them bleed out. So he gave me the information I need. Do I say, "Oh, it's okay, keep doing what you're doing, I'm back to my mission," or do I kill him?
Oh no, I killed him.
Yeah, I killed him. I killed him too. Right? Yeah. So I was playing through my playthrough of The Witcher right before my last conference presentation. I actually told the audience, room full of psychologists, about this quest and how I've been thinking about it a lot because I got to this point in the game yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And I could not, even though I know murder is wrong in that game, knowing that there is no established legal system that's going to do anything to this person.
Right.
It's my choice. He either lives for a long time and does this to hundreds of more people, or he dies because I decided he does. And like Batman, but Batman who's willing to murder. Vigilante justice is what I chose. But that being said, and this was in reaction to a question about video games turning people violent. You always get that question.
Of course, yeah.
And I was just like, but there's nothing in me that has any desire to be Batman or be Geralt of Rivia and go running around trying to do things that police and courts will not do.
Right.
Right. That has never crossed my mind a single time. And so, CD Projekt Red is not impacting that. Epic's and Tencent and, anything on Steam, they're not affecting that. So, I think that as a parent, one of the toughest challenges we have is when we notice our child is going towards the dark side, to have the conversation to remind them of how important the light side is. And for parents who are not comfortable stepping in and doing that, you blame something. And I really do look at, if you're blaming video games, it is partially because you want to blame video games, but it's also, I need to explain why I did not succeed at my quest to have my kid turn out the way that I wanted them to.
Right.
And sometimes that's because you can't control how your kid turns out in every single way possible. But others, it's like, well, I never played video games and they do, and they turned out bad, and I see myself as good. So we got to blame the difference, the differential, right? The variable that's different.
Right.
Nick, you want to ask the next question?
I sure do. So the next question from Doritos asks, can you provide any counseling tips to the listeners to aid us in dealing with someone who has an abhorrence for playing a particular class in a video game? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, okay. So I tend to pick classes in MMOs that people have strong opinions about. For example, I was listening to a Final Fantasy XIV podcast with someone that I think I met through AIE, but I don't know if it's officially an AIE podcast. And they just out of nowhere started dissing the Black Mage class. And that's my favorite class. I don't understand what you have to gain from alienating less than 1% of your fan base like that. So I think that the way we choose our classes, going back to that Elden Ring idea, you have this idea of, how do I want to succeed? What do I want to look like? What strategies do I want to have as mastery over during the toughest battles? What kinds of offense and defensive maneuvers do I think makes me feel awesome? And that's the class you pick. And sometimes you pick and it's not good for you. And sometimes you have to switch to a different one. Other times it's just part of our personality called openness to experience, which is your willingness to try new things. And just because you have a low score in that, you might never switch classes. But if you do challenge yourself to step out, you can have fun doing classes that you never thought you would before.
Doritos asks, is it okay to hate chickens? Fucking hate
eating them, or like trying to pet them? I think it's one of the best proteins. It's very versatile.
I made some sweet, like, spicy chicken the other day. It's very
I mean, I
good.
guess if your name is Link, you probably do have a problem with chickens.
If your name is Marcus, you have a problem with chickens too.
I fucking hate chickens.
That's that's what that question is in reference to.
Our community hates me. It's fine. Nick?
Yeah, he loves chickens and he hates waffles. You heard it here first. The next question from Doritos asks Doc, can someone have their independence while still living under imperial rule, or is that just a Division II delusion of grandeur? Gee, I wonder who that is in reference to.
Okay.
It's me.
So I don't know how well I'm going to answer this question because that's not a game that I've played myself.
No, not Division 2. Those are multiple memes about the show, basically.
Okay.
It's Division 2 this, Division 2 that, about paintball.
I do believe from a psychological perspective, there's where we live, but then there's our internal world. And I think that freedom is about our function in society and our autonomy. And I think there are parts of our inner world that are not governed by imperial rule. I think.
Well, yeah, but Nick's life is dictated by imperial rule now.
He's on this show. He was able to avoid imperialism for 2 hours and 20 minutes so far.
It's because this is the only time he's allowed to have.
Oh, come
Doritos
on. Well, that
asks,
could be enjoyable if you have the right charisma and persuasion role.
It's true. Doritos asks, Doc, what are your content creation goals for the rest of 23?
Well, we still have the gaming persona going. I'm creating videos and shorts for YouTube. I'm streaming on Twitch. I have a bunch of different games that I'm doing as going live. There's still Final Fantasy 14 and Baldur's Gate 3 and Dead by Daylight. Had a really good Dead by Daylight stream last night. I got my first total win as a killer last night, so that's fun. I did Resident Evil 4 last week also. So I think that if people want to find me, they will. There's so much out there. And then also there's the academic stuff, like the book writing and things like that.
Right. We have another question from Doritos. This one's for everybody. It says,
oh my
why
God.
do most video games treat characters as right-handed? I shoot left-handed and want to be able to toggle that capability. Is it too difficult to program to be left-handed in a game? I would imagine yes, but if you want a game where you can actually switch hands, you should try Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball from 2004. Because in that game, you can switch hands like you do in paintball. Where you're shooting righty, shooting lefty, which is fun.
I feel like I played a game where you were able to toggle the corner that the
Rainbow Six Siege.
Slant. I've never played Rainbow Six Siege though, but I know. Good point, Marcus. Yeah, there's a whole thing where the control stick. That's what it toggles.
Yeah. I remember what game was that.
Also,
it was a third person game. I remember.
Honorable mention, but in
Battlefront 2.
Resident Evil 5, Sheva Alomar is left-handed. Chris Redfield is right-handed. So it does happen.
Battlefront 2, you could switch hands.
That's probably the game I'm thinking about. Yeah.
Okay. That's what it was. Yeah.
So for me, it's less about a video game. So I had something called ulna impaction in my arm where they had to like shorten some of the bone and do all this stuff. And during that process of that arm, I had to teach myself how to cut with a jigsaw and use a hammer with my left hand. Because I couldn't do it with my right. There was no like strength in my hand. And learning how to do that is really difficult. I don't find that if I'm shooting a gun in a first-person shooter, left-handed or right-handed is going to mess me up at all. But actually, like, if you had to switch controls where your, like, right thumb is your look and your left hand is the ABXY, I would be lost.
Yeah.
It would be like driving in England on the opposite side of the road.
I interpreted the question different. I took it as the character also being left-handed, but you're taking it like the controller accessibility route, which is also really interesting. Have you seen the PlayStation accessibility controller?
Yes. It's
Those are
crazy.
Things like that are like the best version of what gaming is. Like the idea of how many people will be able to play games on a PS5 because of the existence of that. What would that be called? Hardware, the controller.
Yeah. I saw somebody, because the analog stick was just a square thing, and I saw somebody on TikTok. They were using their chin because from whatever their disability was, and they were dominating in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all about practice. You know,
and I don't know. You couldn't see their hands, but what I was saying is their chin was moving and they were murdering people. I'm like, this dude his kill death ratio is better than mine will ever be, and he's looking with his chin.
Yeah,
right. That's cool.
Like, you know, it's all about finding what works for you and getting good at it. And for you, that's unique. Like, how would a person do that? That's so creative. But for them, everything in life has to be creative because that's just the way of doing things. So I think that's important to remember, is by having options like that, you're allowing people who want to be gamers, but in the past couldn't because it was just physically impossible. And now you're saying this can be for you too. And that's beautiful. That's the very best version of what gamers in society can be.
Totally agree.
Can you really have too much RAM/memory?
No.
No, but 128 gigs is indeed excessive.
There is a point of diminished returns, I'm sure, but no.
Right.
Go ahead, Nick.
The next question is, what is your least favorite ice cream topping? And I can definitely go first.
Go ahead.
Do it.
I would say gummy bears, because I always look at the gummy bears and go, ooh, I like gummy bears. I think that would be great to have. It'd be a cool, chewy texture. This is going to be awesome. Then you put them in the ice cream, and they get cold and hard and terrible. And they transform into a completely different and largely negative eating experience.
Do the two of you have Friendlies where you are?
Yeah.
I think
that was my first job. Okay.
Yeah.
And Nick, do you know how long those gummy bears are sitting in the container before they ended up on your ice cream?
Oh, months probably.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying like they're in a bag that's sealed so they're fresh. I mean, like, we opened that bag 7 months ago.
Right. Dumped them in there.
Put those gummy bears in a black plastic container right next to the peanut butter pump.
Yeah.
Waiting for some sad human being to ask for gummy bears on their Jim Dandy Sunday.
Well, maybe that's the source of the issue rather than the coldness, but yeah.
Yeah, no. I would say the colorful wax. The sprinkles. Yeah. There's no reason to put wax on your ice cream. It's just not good.
Yeah.
I 100% disagree with that, but that's okay. Mine, I can't pick one, so I have to pick two. Butterscotch and cherries.
I don't like cherries either.
You don't like cherries?
It's like the worst thing ever.
They're like a side quest. You take them off the ice cream and enjoy them
and throw them in the
separately.
trash.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? How are we friends?
I don't enjoy maraschino cherries, and I really don't like anything artificially cherry flavored. But I will say, credit where credit's due, fresh cherries with the pit in them are really good. I love those, but I'm allergic to them, so I can't eat them. But I do like those.
It's like you're addicted to chocolate.
Okay.
Anyways, this is a good question. Are there too many streaming services, i.e. Hulu, Paramount, Netflix, Sling, Peacock, Disney Plus? Yes.
Yes, there are. Way too many.
I'm going to say no, because the alternative is we just pay like $140 to our cable service.
I'm going to tell you something right now, buddy. You probably pay close to that in your streaming services.
Right.
Yeah, but I get better stuff, and it's all on demand.
It's all
That's
on
true.
demand on cable TV.
Yeah, but what if your DVR capacity fills up and stuff? Or
Yeah,
if YouTube
it's-
TV doesn't record it properly, which it doesn't half the freaking time for football games.
Yeah, one of the things, like I have Hulu for my cable service right now, and one of the frustrating things is my son and I will watch Monday Night Raw, but it ends at 11. School is, every Tuesday is a school day, so we don't watch all the way till 11 on Monday. But Hulu says like, oh, they started it, they stopped watching it, we don't need to store it. So then Tuesday afternoon, we want to finish it after school. It's not there. So
That's annoying.
I think that everything has a flaw.
My advice to you is switch to YouTube TV. It's amazing. And it's the same price.
I thought about that.
But what I will say is, dude, wrestling is off the chains right now.
It really
Dude,
is.
the story that Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes have the tag team titles, and that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were like, no, those are ours. That story's not over yet, but like, and then you throw in the Judgment Day. Oh my God, it's so good. Like
it's really good.
I'm so happy that they finally kicked Vince McMahon to the curb, because like Triple H is doing shit. It's amazing. I'll send you a link, Doc, for this guy who like talks about wrestling on YouTube, and he does like a breakdown of like Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. He's going away this weekend, so I don't know if he'll do one for SmackDown or not, but like the content is incredible. And I am hooked back into wrestling like I was. And Monday Night Raw is so much better than SmackDown. And for the record,
absolutely.
And I'm just newly coming back to wrestling, but when did any champion get months off? The way, like, I think the Roman Reigns thing is such a joke. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not the greatest of all time. He's the laziest of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever contract they signed him to only have to wrestle like 3 times a year. Of course he doesn't lose his belt. You're wrestling 3 times a year. And they had to create another title that Seth Rollins has, or Seth freaking Rollins has, just so that there's another championship title, because they signed a terrible contract with this guy. I can't wait for him to be gone.
Yeah.
And I don't mean out of wrestling, just go away.
Yeah.
Like when he comes on, I'm just like, dude, you don't wrestle anybody, so shut up.
This is an every week, multiple times a week conversation me and my son have. Him becoming Universal Champion was when we started watching wrestling together. So our time watching wrestling is the story of the bloodline.
Yeah.
And it's been a really good story at times, but I try to do as many things as I can in my life really well. I compare myself to people that I shouldn't even be bothering. And I try to do great. So for me, looking at Roman Reigns, he is great. He has the potential to be great, amazing. And he could have been one of the best, but there must be some kind of injury thing that they just have locked airtight and not public information, to where maybe he can't wrestle a full schedule, but they really want to rewrite wrestling history and have him pass like the Hulk Hogan kind of day count. I don't know.
But Hulk Hogan wrestled every day. Like,
I know he did. In the 80s when he made those streaks, he did.
Yes.
But for some reason, Vince McMahon was in charge when... Yeah, it's a Vince McMahon contract. I don't know much about inside wrestling. I just watch it as a fan. It's a important and very valuable father-son activity for me. And, we still love it, but we wish he'd show up. It's not that we want him to lose the title. It's just we think we feel the same.
I want him to lose the title. He should have lost the title at WrestleMania to Cody.
He should have.
100%. And they did it just because
breed better men, Marcus.
Oh, I agree to that.
Yes.
And right now we're in soft men, and they're creating hard times. So I'm with you.
I don't want to talk about how soft or hard these people are with you, Marcus.
They're harder than a North Korean missile. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, back on the ranch.
what is the best cure for hiccups?
Holding your breath.
Marcus, I'll go last.
Nothing. Your thingy thing is going crazy, and you can't control that. You can do whatever you want, but it doesn't go away.
That was going to be my point. There is no real cure for hiccups because it's just the spasm of your diaphragms, which usually means you're dehydrated if you got spasming muscles. So get some electrolytes in you, and then just like try to your best to change your breathing pattern, like holding your breath will work, or like just like forcing your belly out, or anything where your breathing pattern changes will help. But
how mad does TK427 get at you when you get the hiccups and she's telling you to shut up and be quiet?
I don't think she's ever told me to shut up. That's not true.
Does TK427 listen to the show?
No, not really. I think she listened to one episode maybe, but I think that was about it. And she was like, all right, I don't want to listen.
Such an interesting dynamic. It wasn't like this last time I was here.
Oh, because Nick is dating a stormtrooper. Like it just happened.
It didn't just
he went through TK4201 all the way to TK427.
Is this the number of partners you've had, Nick?
Yes,
427?
yes. That's
no.
Like they lost their name about 3 years ago, and they all became TK units.
Yeah, Marcus is like, oh, it's been a running joke of like, so what girl did you go on a date with this weekend, or something like that? And it's like TK blah blah blah, just like giving him stormtrooper names. And then of course I started dating Taylor, and he was like, oh, is that TK? And I like blurted out the number 427 because it's the beginning of my phone number. And then Marcus ran with that and just kept calling her TK427. Then, of course, we talked about it on the show, and then it became, oh, Nick's dating a real stormtrooper, and he started telling his kids that I'm dating a stormtrooper, and they think her name is actually TK427, and, of course, people just troll us in the Discord and on the stream.
Your kids have amazing imaginations, Marcus.
My kids are 7 and 4, buddy.
Yeah, it's great.
100%.
All right. Anyways, last question from Doritos asks, does Spumoni ice cream count as an equal to pistachio ice cream?
What the fuck is that?
What is Spumoni?
Isn't that the ice cream flavor you get when you go to traditional Italian restaurants at the end of the meal?
Yes.
I think that is.
It's a molded gelato made with layers of different colors and flavor, usually containing candied fruits and nuts. Typically, of its 3 flavors, the ice cream layers are often mixed with whipped cream, cherry, pistachio. It's fucking over. It's terrible. Get out of here.
No, I wouldn't like that. No. I legitimately would not like. Well, first of all, I don't like cherry or pistachio.
I'm not interested in pistachio ice cream either.
Yeah, that's good. We've figured this out before with you, but that just means you're not a psychopath. So it's perfect.
Right. Doc, where can everybody find you?
Right now, the main thing that would make me the most happy is find me on YouTube, Dr. Gameology channel. Watch some of my videos about Geek Therapy for gamers. And if you want to watch me play the games live, you can find me on Twitch. Also, twitch.tv/Dr. Gameology. And then when The Gamer's Journey comes out, I would love for everyone to read it. But I will come on the show again to let everyone know that has happened.
Oh, you bet your ass.
I have no idea when it's going to happen. I just know that I've done 2 full drafts of the book and don't know if I have to have a third one in me, but probably will. We'll see.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on the show, and we'll see you when your book comes out.
Thanks.
What are you guys talking about in here?
Find out next episode of Working Class Nerds.